Shalom. This presentation is made from the website Hope and Truth. 9.0 Father Creator's Calendar. According to Father Creator's will, time began at the creation of the first creature, the Word, his first Son. See 6.1 the Word and 4.2.2 at the beginnings. However, it's only at the beginning of the 7 days of Genesis 1 that time began to be counted in Father Creator's calendar, even without the sun in the sky. See 4.3.2 diagram, Adam's Day. We read in Genesis 1 verses 1. In the beginning, Elohim created the heaven and the earth, and Elohim called the light day, and the darkness he called night, and the evening and the morning were the first day. In Genesis 1, the first 3 days were counted without the sun in the first week of creation, which is the first week of the first year of Father Creator's calendar. From the creation of the luminaries on the fourth day, the days were counted and marked using the sun as a clock which was added to the existing celestial clock. Neither the first week nor time was discontinued by the creation of the sun. Among the created luminaries, the following verse from Jubilees below designates the sun as the great sign for all the divisions of time. We read in Genesis 1 verse 14. Elohim said, "Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years." Jubilees 2 verse 8. And on the fourth day he created the sun and the moon and the stars, and set them in the firmament of the heaven, to give light upon all the earth, and to rule over the day and the night, and divide the light from the darkness. And God appointed the sun to be a great sign on the earth, for days and for Sabbath, and for months, and for feasts, and for years, and for Sabbaths of years, and for jubilees, and for all seasons of the years. According to verse 9 above, the moon has no use in determining the days and the Sabbath. The Bible gives only a few general elements of the monthly or annual calendar divisions. The Bible gives most of all the dates of the solemnities and of certain historical events. Furthermore, the imperfect and sometimes indistinct translations of the Bible leave the reader in uncertainty as for the details of the calendar. For the month, we find the use of general terms and the word Kodesh, number 02320, translated most of the times, 200 times, as month, but a few times, 20 to 26, as new moon for no apparent reason. In particular, this latter term is responsible for the belief that the lunar conjunction is the monthly basis of Father Creator's calendar. Evidently, Father Creator's calendar as well as the books of Enoch and of Jubilees have been concealed after the resurrection of Yahushua, just as the true disciples have been persecuted, hunted, and killed. See 9.04, its concealment. These books are generally still rejected by mainstream religions. Prophecy is found in the book of Jubilees concerning the apostasy that would prevail in the last days regarding the truth, and particularly regarding Father Creator's calendar. We read in Jubilees 6 verse 31. But if they do transgress and do not observe them according to his commandment, then will be corrupted all their fixed dates, and the years will waver in consequence, and also their times and their years, and they will transgress their ordinances. And all the children of Israel will forget and will not find the path of the years, and will forget the new moon, Intercalary Day, and the Sabbath, and the festivals, and in all the order of the years they will err. We must note that the same translated term new moon is used in the book of Jubilees, but another definition is found besides the lunar conjunction. According to a recent revelation in the books of Enoch and Jubilees, Father Creator's calendar is given for his elect in precise details. See Enoch Chapter 72. We can read therein that Enoch received detailed explanation from the angel Uriel that Father Creator's calendar is a 364-day annual cycle composed of 12 months of 30 days and 4 additional intercalary days. See 9.3.2 Intercalary Days. These 4 days are translated incorrectly by the term new moon in the modern translation, or at least incorrectly interpreted as lunar conjunctions, inducing into the error of the lunar calendar. The 12 months are not based on the lunar cycle nor on the lunar conjunction, as the term new moon would impose. By applying the correct sequence according to the rules transmitted by Enoch, it becomes possible to establish the precise sequence of the days of the calendar with their correspondence in the Gregorian calendar. The present work has been modified to reflect this recent revelation and to establish the dates of the solemnities of the Father Creator according to his calendar. See 10.14, Dates of Solemnities. This annual cycle of 364 days is called a full year. This annual cycle begins the day after the local March equinox in Jerusalem, which occurs from March 16 to 18 in the Gregorian calendar. See 9.01 diagram and 9.02 rules. For the day of the equinox in Jerusalem, the actual length of day and night is equal and is 12 hours. 4 intercalary days are clearly explained in the book of Enoch and the book of Jubilees as holy days and days of memorial. See 9.3.1 Neomenia and New Moon days and 9.3.2 Intercalary days. Please note that the numbering of verses in the books of Enoch and Jubilees differs depending on the version used. We read in Enoch 75 verse 1, "And the leaders of the heads of the thousands who are placed over the whole creation and over all the stars have also to do with the 4 intercalary days, being inseparable from their office, according to the reckoning of the year, and these render service on the 4 days which are not reckoned in the reckoning of the year, and owing to them men go wrong therein. For those luminaries truly render service on the world stations, one in the first portal, one in the third portal of the heaven, one in the fourth portal, and one in the sixth portal, and the exactness of the year is accomplished through its separate 364 stations." The verses above specify the position of the 4 intercalary days based on the trajectory of the sun through the portals. See 9.4.04, the sun's trajectory. Considering the other verses of the book of Jubilees, the position of these 4 days will be demonstrated to be at the head of the 4 divisions of the year. See 9.3.2.2, heads of month. In the following verse, Enoch clearly describes a local phenomenon from his geographical position as the daylight equals the nighttime of 12 hours. His position is assumed in Jerusalem with 35.02 latitude and 34.48 longitude. We read in Enoch 72 verse 32, "On that day the night decreases and amounts to 9 parts, and the day to 9 parts, and the night is equal to the day, and the year is exactly to its days 364. This verse also says that this day of equinox, where daylight is 12 hours, is also the last day of the annual cycle, 364th day. See 9.4.3 year versus equinox. Today, with the cycle of 365.242 days, that day of equinox is still considered the last day of the annual cycle. So according to the same rule, the day after the day of equinox is the beginning of the next annual cycle. One of the fundamental rules of any calendar is to remain synchronized with the seasons of the earth. This is exactly the rule received from Enoch by synchronizing with the exact equinox in Jerusalem. We need to distinguish the equinox defined by modern science as the precise moment when the sun crosses the celestial equator, March 2021. This is not the true equinox around the world, and this is not what Enoch described. The inadvertent or deliberate corruption and incorrect translation of the original text cause confusion and error in the world and among the brethren. If it were possible, even the elect would be deceived, according to Mark 33, verse 12. Similarly, the rejection of the book of Enoch and the book of Jubilees is a concealment of the truth by the authorities of modern Babylon that maintain the lies and errors. Obviously, the world and the brethren are well kept in the dark and general confusion. Since the flood, the current earthly cycle of 365.242 days per year no longer corresponds to the cycle of this celestial calendar of 364 days. Because of the rebellion of man that caused the flood, the original earthly cycle described by Enoch has been changed, and the earth cycle has detached from the celestial calendar after the flood. The elect are called to recognize for the Creator's calendar in the book of Enoch to determine the days of solemnities of the Creator Father commanded in the Bible. See 10.0 for the Creator's solemnities. Only Enoch was given the biblical calendar through revelation. Also, evidently, Noah knew the calendar received from his grandfather Enoch because Noah established certain historic events. In Genesis 7:11 we read, "In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the second month, on the 17th day of the month, on that day all the fountains of the great deep burst forth, and the windows of the heavens were opened." Genesis 8 verse 4, "And in the 7th month, on the 17th day of the month, the ark came to rest upon the mountains of Ararat." In Genesis 8 verse 13, "In the 601st year, in the first month, the first day of the month, the waters were dried from off the earth, and Noah removed the covering of the ark, and looked, and behold, the face of the ground was dry. In the second month, on the 27th day of the month, the earth was dry." In contrast, we can assume that Moses did not know for the Creator's calendar, since he was educated in Egypt. One day, the angel revealed to Moses for the Creator's calendar, which was certainly for him a change of calendar. We read in Exodus 12 verse 1, "The Lord said to Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, This month shall be for you the beginning of month. It shall be the first month of the year for you. Tell all the congregation of Israel that on the 10th day of this month they shall take every man a lamb according to their fathers' houses, a lamb for a household." Exodus 13 verse 4. "This day you are to go forth in the month of Abib." As shown, verse 2 confirms that from then on the people of Father Creator should count their month from the season of the new growth or Abib, that is the green ears. This is when the summer season begins after the March equinox in the northern hemisphere. Thus, it is important to know Father Creator's calendar if we want to give him honor by keeping his solemnities. You will find in the following sections the several elements and definitions of Father Creator's calendar and how to count time.